In this podcast episode, Dr. Sue Morter explores the profound journey of awakening through the lens of energy, consciousness, and nervous system regulation. She delves into the interplay between science and spirituality, the anatomy of subtle energy within the body, and how unresolved emotional and mental patterns impact physical health. The conversation traverses deep self-inquiry, healing blocked energies, building energetic circuitry, and the transformative power of surrender and self-love. Dr. Morter shares insights from her clinical experience and personal awakening, offering listeners pathways to greater presence, wholeness, and joy. Dr. Morter opens by framing the universe as a unified field of energy that we are inherently part of, not separate from. Rather than the universe simply having our back, she emphasizes that we are made of this energy, continuous and inseparable from the cosmic field. This perspective encourages a shift from feeling disconnected or abandoned to recognizing a fundamental unity, an ongoing connection with the source of all matter and consciousness. The physical world, she explains, is a highly compressed form of this radiant energy, with layers of subtle energy existing beyond what traditional science has measured. The universe and our beings are a dynamic flow between compression and decompression of this energy, where consciousness itself is not emergent from matter, but rather matter emerges from consciousness. A significant portion of the conversation centers on what Dr. Morter calls the protective personality, a conditioned identity that develops through early life experiences, especially trauma and survival mechanisms. This personality often operates from fear, resistance, and reactivity, defaulting to fight or flight states in response to external stressors. The nervous system becomes dysregulated, stuck in survival mode, leading to chronic stress and diminished capacity for present-moment harmony. Dr. Morter highlights how individuals either push against life's challenges or withdraw inwardly, but both responses limit true growth and fulfillment. Healing begins by slowing down, anchoring in the body, and asking new, compassionate questions that invite reintegration of those pocketed off parts of self, rather than avoiding or suppressing them. Building on nervous system regulation, Dr. Morter explains how embodiment, the process of fully inhabiting one's body and subtle energy system, is central to healing and awakening. Through breath, muscle engagement, and focused presence, one can access previously inaccessible vibrational frequencies within the subtle anatomy. She describes specific anchor points, such as areas at the base of the spine and the heart, and teaches how to breathe energy up and down the central channel, also known as the sushumna or a toroidal field, to harmonize and integrate consciousness. This embodiment cultivates coherence between mind, body, and soul, allowing individuals to move from reactive patterns into open, wise presence. It transforms the primitive brain's fight-or-flight response into a functioning center of strength and fortitude. Dr. Morter expands the traditional chakra model by introducing a 12-chakra system that incorporates higher energy centers beyond the usual 7. This extended system corresponds to increasingly refined levels of consciousness, from deep grounding in the earth to profound unity with the universal field. She notes how each chakra corresponds not only to physiological systems, but also to vibrational frequencies, emotional states, and levels of awareness. The anatomy of awakening involves decompressing these energy centers, allowing the flow of photons, packets of energy, or consciousness to build density that supports a stable, radiant sense of self. When these subtle centers are blocked or circumvented, the resultant distortions create a wobble in the energetic field, which reflects as life challenges or health issues. The work of awakening is to reopen and harmonize these channels. Throughout the discussion, Dr. Morter advocates for the integration of scientific investigation and spiritual wisdom. She challenges the reductionist materialist paradigm, citing quantum science's revelations that consciousness precedes matter. By recognizing energy as electrical before chemical and the body as an expression of the unified field, modern research and ancient yogic teachings begin to align. This integration allows for a more complete understanding of human experience, one that validates transpersonal experiences while grounding them in embodiment and reproducible practices. This union opens the door for greater acceptance of subtle anatomy, energy medicine, and the role of consciousness in physical health. Dr. Morter offers practical guidance on how to stay grounded in the body and expand the gap between stimulus and response, the space where freedom and conscious choice arise. Breathwork, mindful muscular engagement, and body-focused awareness create circuitry that enables one to access deeper levels of self-recognition and emotional regulation. Regular practice strengthens this inner pathway and prepares the nervous system to respond with clarity rather than reactivity during challenging moments. She describes the act of circuit building as embracing all parts of oneself, especially those that have been suppressed or wounded, and allowing them to contribute their energy authentically. This rewiring supports resilience, emotional fluidity, and personal power. A profound theme relates to psychosomatic connections, the way emotions and mental patterns influence physical health. Dr. Morter emphasizes that the body is a reflection of consciousness. For example, rejection or resistance manifests as specific physiological disturbances, such as respiratory issues linked to hesitancy in life or cardiac problems connected to suppressed love. Each emotion or unresolved mental state creates a patterned impact on different organs or bodily systems. Healing these patterns requires direct energetic attention and conscious presence in the affected areas. By breathing into these blockages and welcoming their energetic expression, one facilitates physiological shifts that can reverse disease progression and foster regeneration. The process might feel like falling into a void or deep well, representing parts of self neglected for years, but it is a passage to greater wholeness and liberation. Integral to Dr. Morter's teaching is the necessity of surrender, not as defeat, but as an opening to a larger, deeper self beyond the conditioned personality. Her personal accounts of transformational experiences illustrate the paradox of breaking down to break through. In moments of surrender, profound joy emerges, a bliss beyond words that infuses everyday life with meaning and grace. This joy is not a distant goal, but the natural state of presence, accessed as energetic compression decompresses. She describes joy as the vibrational frequency of love and delight inherent in the fabric of reality. Moving from a place of joy rather than lack changes one's approach to life, allowing effortless flow and integration of all experiences, including suffering. The conversation highlights the importance of recontextualizing triggers. Instead of viewing them as obstacles or threats, Dr. Morter encourages seeing them as invitations to retrieve and reclaim parts of ourselves. Cultivating a playful, loving attitude toward one's reactive moments diffuses their power and opens room for conscious transformation. You can laugh at yourself for falling into old patterns because it manifests an inner self-compassion that supports continued progress. This approach reduces judgment, shifts the relationship with fear, anger, and resistance, and promotes emotional freedom. In this way, life becomes a laboratory of joyful experimentation rather than a battlefield of survival. Dr. Morter addresses the mysterious and often ineffable nature of spiritual awakenings and mystical experiences. She stresses the need for embodiment to translate these experiences into practical, life-enhancing wisdom. This grounding helps bridge the gap between inner realizations and outer reality, allowing expanded awareness to inform daily actions, relationships, and decisions. Embodied presence also builds the capacity to hold and integrate higher vibrational states sustainably, preventing dissociation or escapism. She acknowledges that these experiences cultivate a radiance and authenticity that invite others to explore their own journeys with openness and discernment. Near the end, Dr. Morter touches on how individual awakening contributes to humanity's larger evolutionary project, facilitating communities where people practice presence, embodiment, and energy work collectively, amplifies coherence and supports deeper awakenings. She describes live gatherings and sacred site journeys that catalyze these processes by compounding vibrational frequencies in groups. This matrix of conscious individuals is seen as a seed for reorganizing societal values, leadership, and decision-making toward a more integrated, loving, and conscious future. The invitation is to not only awaken personally, but to stand up and act from that presence to transform the world. Dr. Morter references her book, Anatomy of Awakening, which provides detailed practices and frameworks to support the deep inner work discussed in the conversation. She also offers courses, guided meditations, and transformative experiences both online and in person, including journeys to sacred sites with historical and spiritual significance. These offerings aim to blend scientific insights with contemplative wisdom to provide accessible tools for individuals committed to healing, awakening, and embodying their full potential. Summarizing her heartfelt message, Dr. Morter assures listeners that nothing is broken or missing within them. Rather, they are already whole and complete. They are participants in a divine project of rediscovery and awakening, fully supported by the unified field of consciousness. The path to remembering this truth involves embracing more of oneself and stepping courageously into authenticity. The process is a natural flow of a divine continuum pouring into human life, inviting each person to claim the joyous, expansive life for which they were designed.